Very interesting definition. This means that the paradigm does not move from the particular towards the universal, nor from the universal towards the particular, but from the particular towards the particular. In other words, we have here, we can say it's very simple, we have first deduction, which goes from the universal to the particular. We have induction, which goes from the particular towards the universal. And then we have a third, which is paradigm, analogy, which goes from the particular to the particular. But what does it mean to move from the particular towards the particular? Which kind of movement is this? And how can a paradigm, which is a singularity, produce, as we saw in Foucault, a new analogical context, a new generality? In order to understand how the paradigm works, we have first to neutralize traditional philosophical oppositions, such as universal, particular, general, individual, even also form, content. The paradigm, analogy, is dipolar and not dichotomic. It is tensional and not oppositional. That is to say, it produces a field of polar tensions which tend to form a zone of indecidability, which neutralizes every rigid opposition. So we don't have, I think the one we discussed this day, you are familiar with this concept, so we don't have here a dichotomy, meaning two zonal elements clearly separated and distinguished by a caesura. We have a field where two opposite tensions run. So thus the paradigm is neither universal nor particular, neither general nor individual. It is a singularity which, showing itself as such, this is the etymological meaning of the word paradigma in Greek. Paradigma is literally what shows itself beside. Something is shown beside. Para. So it is a singularity which, showing itself as such, produces a new ontological context. Yet, Aristotle's treatment of the paradigm is in a way inadequate. It's very quick, as I told you, it's a few pages, even a few lines. And though he had these beautiful ideas of defining paradigm as meros pros meros, as going from the particular to the particular, he does not seem to develop this point, and like Kant, has some difficulty, still sticks in a way to the idea that the individuals concerned in the example belong to the same genus. So thus in Rhetorics, 1357b, he writes that the two singularity in the paradigm are hypotoautogenos, under the same genus. But then he has a very interesting, very enigmatic statement. Then immediately after, he writes that so both belong to the same category, but only one of them is better knowable, more knowable than the other. Gnorimoteron. So the example is more knowable than the other. So it's a very interesting point. So the important thing is not that the two are homogeneous, but precisely the fact that one is more knowable. So why the example, the paradigm, is more knowable? What is the sense of this excess of knowability? So we have now to leave Aristotle and proceed to the second locus classicus in the problem of paradigm in Greek philosophy. I mean Plato's statesman. And this will also allow us to identify a possible direct source for Foucault's conception of paradigm. As a matter of fact, in 1947, Victor Goldschmidt, who was an extraordinary French historian of Greek philosophy, published Les paradigmes dans la dialectique platonicienne. So paradigm in Plato's dialectics. As it often happens in Goldschmidt writings, who is a kind of genius in his field, the analysis of an apparently minor problem, the use of the paradigm dans la dialectique platonicienne, shed a completely new light on the whole of Plato's philosophy, and specifically on the relationship between the idea and the phenomenon, the sensible. The starting point of Goldschmidt is another book by another historian, Giorgio Agamben. This scholar had noticed and drew the attention on a very peculiar structure in Plato's dialogues and in Plato's usage of the example of the paradigm. Sometimes in Plato, the idea acts as paradigm for the sensible things, but sometimes it is the sensible thing who acts as a paradigm for the idea. So the fact is so embarrassing that you can find often paradigm translated with two different words in the two different instances, which is absurd. So let's go quickly through that. Goldschmidt analyzes the passage in The Statesman where a sensible paradigm, the art of weaving, must lead to the understanding of the idea of the statesman, of the politics, of the politicians.